Despite the untold hardships on Nigerians from the hike of fuel price, petrol stakeholders are saying there is no going back if their businesses must survive. Now, for many of them, the scarcity of fuel also affects them and their means of livelihood. They say that the demand is more than supply, which contributes to the long queues seen at filling stations across Nigeria and black marketers who sell at a higher price. Joining us in the studio is the former Commissioner of Transport here in Lagos. He's also the Executive Director, Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access Development, Comrade Kayode Okwefa. Good to see you, Comrade. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Comrade, what is going on with all of these things? The government is saying it is 165. The IPMAN people are saying, no, it cannot be 165 because you are trying to send us out of business. And the IPMAN man was here yesterday talking about private depots that are causing problems for them and so on. What is going on?
Yeah, thank you. I think this is, we should have been discussing this about 3 weeks ago because it was very imminent that we would get to this situation. Now, the first thing, almost, I think everybody is saying from their own perspective what is going on, and you can hardly fault or say they are not saying their minds. But the truth of the matter is there's a global disruption in the supply chain of petroleum products arising from the war or issues in Ukraine and Russia. And that disruption is affecting everybody worldwide. How countries react is another thing. But countries are now reacting in different ways. And our own situation becomes serious or because of the fact that the petroleum PMS sector is not deregulated, while the diesel is deregulated. So while one is deregulated and is rising up, the other one that is not deregulated is also being impacted. So you have a huge amount of supply chain coming from the Russia-Ukraine Black Sea axis. And that also, like you have during the Gulf War, you also have the increase in the price of crude. And once you have increase in the price of crude, all distillates, all products from crude will have to adjust. So if you are deregulated, the market forces will control. When you are not deregulated, then government has to do something. So in our own case, the stakeholders are reacting to government's action or inaction. And if you watch in the last 24 hours, the United States government is also talking about removing federal taxes from pump price so that the price in US can come down. Currently now in Houston is around $5.65 for a gallon, which is 4 liters. In Chicago and California, it's getting close to $7, which brings it to about 900 naira per liter.
Yes.
So America too is feeling it. So what is happening
If we had that in Nigeria, there will be uproar.
So what I think we need to let people understand that when you have the situation like you have crude price going up, it's definitely going to have consequences. And that is what we need to address.
Yes, Comrade, I understand that the former president of the Trade Union Congress, who's also the former president of Pengasen, Peter Esele, joins us virtually. Peter, perhaps you could also share with us your initial thoughts as per how you stakeholders are responding to this lingering fuel scarcity in the country at this time. It does appear that the situation may not abate soon.
Thank you very much for having me. And one thing is very clear. Comrade Kayode has already spoken about supply chain disruption. But you also have to look at Nigeria being a very unique and a special place. We expect marketers to sell at 165. The ex-depot price is at 148. But based on the cost overruns, some payments that are under the table, you don't expect marketers to now sell at 165. As at January, February, the price of diesel is 3 times more now. So what you have with that increase in the price of diesel, because you need diesel to truck the PMS to the various pump stations. So if you want to truck the PMS to the various pump stations, if your transport margin in January was 10 naira, What you should have right now should be about 30 naira. So if you take that into consideration, what the marketers are saying is that for them to be able to sell the product and break even or make profit, they should be selling at 175 to 180. When government keep insisting that they have to sell at 165, it's not realistic. We just need to be fair to ourselves. Nobody is going to do business and run at a loss. What I expect government to do is to sit down and look at those challenges. We have these margins. You need to visit it, and when you visit this margin, then you have to make a decision on what you have to do. Are you going to increase, or you are going to reduce? Now, government cannot be inactive. Government needs to be government.
Comrade Peter, perhaps I should just stay with you for a moment before we come back here to the studio. Some Nigerians believe that this move is a kickback by the marketers to have a more sustainable pricing range. I wonder what your thoughts are.
If yes, Nigerians may feel that way, but let's just say the way it is. Right now, you have the price of crude becoming so high, and you've just said what Comrade Kayode had said in the studio. What he had said is that it's across the globe. So the prices of gasoline, any petroleum product, any crude oil product, the prices are going up. So naturally, you also expect the prices to increase back home. So what the marketers are also going after is not as if there's no subsidy. If we don't have subsidy, you and I should be paying nothing less than 400 naira at the pump station. Yeah, that alluded to between 700 to 900 naira. But don't forget that in the US, you have federal tax, you have state tax that are added to each liter of gasoline. So in Nigeria, that amount we would have been paying between 400 to 500. That's what how much we would have been paying right now. So, but we should look at the fact that the cost of trucking this product is not that we don't have enough product. My sources within NNPC, we have enough product. But right now, the truck drivers are also now asking that, yes, the margins are not sustainable because of the exorbitant price of diesel.
Now, there's also the complaints. Maybe I should come to Comrade Wefa. The complaints about the problem with the private depots.
Okay. You see, what I understand, NNPC has its own depots. Many of them are not operating now because they are being supplied by pipeline. I think that system 2A, the one that goes from Atlas Grove to Imosimi to Ijibo, Imosimi, Ibadan, Ilorin, and the rest. These pipelines are not operating. They've been compromised. And so what you now have is the supply is now coming from the private depot. A lot of them in Apapa, Ogara, Warri, Calabar, and Port Harcourt. Now, that shouldn't be an issue. But it's an issue for IPMAN because IPMAN controls the situation in many of the NNPC depots, especially Ejibo and Imosimi. So when you now send them to private depot, it comes like some extra.
Yeah, like a middleman. You have created a middleman for them.
Yeah, we call it whatever. But it's like they have some extra charges to pay.
Yeah.
But on my interaction with the NNPC side, the claim is that shouldn't be an issue because the price is still being controlled by the government, and they should be able to get it at the approved price.
Of 165.
It's not up to 165. The approved price to sell,
162.
for them to be able to sell at 165. That is an issue. So I think at this point, we just need to talk to all the stakeholders. They need to understand that we're in a crisis. And this is not the time for competition as to who controls what. If I'm going to get from a private depot, NNPC or the regulator, that's NMD or whatever, should be able to ensure that they get at the. And if there are people who are selling above the approval, they should be apprehended. But and we also need to speak to IPMAN. If there are people selling to you at any price that is not controlled, hey, speak out.
They are speaking out now.
Yeah, name and shame.
In other words, there are some people who are, maybe Isele will answer that. Peter Isele.
Yes, please.
Can you also chip into this matter? is there some kind of collusion or profiteering by this private depot? Because an IPMA person was here yesterday, and he spoke about the fact that these private depots have been increasing their prices from 151, 152, 150. Now it's about 162. Is there profiteering by some of these mainstays, like is it Oando, the $10 ones? What's the other one? There are so many of them. They are around. They're around. They believe that those people are not helping matters. That is why Ipman is saying, you people cannot be making the money while we are suffering.
I think Hipman has a case there. If you also look at that man, this is not the first time you have issues like this. And that's why I said earlier that government needs to be government. What that invariably means is that through the various regulators need to intervene to find out what is happening between that man and Ipman. Because if that man is profiteering, of course, once you have scarcity, such as what we are going through right now.
Please let our readers know what that man is. They may not know.
No, once you have scarcity, what you have is that there is tendency for people to want to profiteer from what we are going through right now. If a man is getting the product at 161, 162, then the regulators should now find out why would that man be selling at that price. And if they are selling at that price, then appropriate sanctions will be meted out. So when you don't, laws are not made for good people. Laws are made for people who are not good, who have criminal intention. So what one would have expected is that the regulators will move in and deal with whoever is trying to contravene whatever price that has been fixed by NNPC. Because right now, the federal government is paying the subsidy. And if NNPC is saying the ex-depot price is at 148, then let it remain. And if it's not remaining, then you have to give reason why it is not remaining at that 148. And if anybody goes above that price, then appropriate sanctions should be meted out. But when we allow people to get away with whatever they want to do, that is when you have problems like this.
So are you implying that man, these are the organizations, that's the cover body in charge of the depot owners? Are you saying that they are profiteering? You have not come out directly to say that.
Now, why I will not come out directly to tell you that they are profiteering, if one thing is very clear, if Ipman says that they are buying at 162, then they are profiteering. If Ipman says they are buying at 162 at X depot price, then they are profiteering. So that man needs to tell us why would they sell at 162 or 161, which is against what NNPC asks them to sell. Yes, please.
Yes, I mean, let me take you up on something you said earlier about this sufficiency of this product in the first place, which does appear that the Pengassin and NNPC seem to be on the same side, but the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria seem to think differently, that we do not have enough of this product available to serve the nation at this time.
If you don't have enough products, that may also be, NNPC is not going to tell you that they have all the products. NNPC will always tell you that they have all the products. Even when we had the bad fuel, NNPC told us everything is under control. Even when we know there was not enough product in the country, NNPC still said everything was under control until we had a crisis time. First, we also have to look at NNPC at the moment. Where is NNPC getting dollars from? All of us know that there is so much pressure on the economy right now. Government says they're spending so much money in subsidy payment that they are even having challenges, and they are worried that they may not be able to meet their debt repayment down the stretch. Could that also be responsible? Because if you have a product glut, it's not possible that that man will have an opportunity to now go profiteering. So what we have now is that we are not having product glut. If we have excess product, there will be no room for scarcity, and that man will want to empty their depot. So if that man is not ready to empty their depot, there must be something that man knows, because people profit from scarcity. Nobody profits from surplus. Once you have surplus, everybody wants to open the tap and ensure that the depot is
Yeah,
empty.
so let's stand by or stay with us. Let's Comrade
So,
Okwefa probably respond
for
to
you need to respond to this.
Yeah,
And
let
tell
me
us,
to that
is
position.
that man the problem?
No. I think what Peter had exposed that would take us to some of the main issues.
Yes.
Is that do we have enough products? You know, in economics, if the product is adequate, there will be no room for exploitation. So what you have now is, you know, at the point it was Abuja that was having the queues. Now the complaint then was that the bridging price, the amount, you know, for you to transport from, let's say, from Lagos to Lagos, or from Ogara to Abuja, is a different cost. Now, if you now want to move from Lagos to Abuja, or Ogara, that's a Delta, to Abuja.
Ogara.
Or Ogara, okay, the price will be different. Now, they call it bridging. So government pays an amount, and I learned it used to be 10 naira 46 or 40 kobo per liter. And the truckers says they can not move at that price. So that created a shortfall in the market. So you see the queue in Abuja. But when you see queue in Lagos, you wonder if I'm moving from Apapa to Lagos, why should that affect me? So government did an improvement to 20 naira 46 kobo. And the issue is they not started collecting it. But it is effective from June 1. Because of the nature of the business, they are still making that same that is 10 naira 40 kobo. So that area has been breached. If that area is effectively breached, if the assurance is acceptable to the marketers, I mean, the truckers, the PTD, the NUPEC, and the rest, we shouldn't have product shortage. But surely, for you to have queue in Lagos, that means there is not enough product on the streets. So NNPC says that there is 10 days product offshore, and onshore they have 20 days product. It's addressing what Peter says. So what I see here is that we are already in a mess, because for you to have that queue, it will take a longer time to get out of the queue. But if adequately there is lifting out of Apapa, there is lifting out of all the depots. I mean from the motherships onto land, then land onto the various destinations. Lagos should be able to get out of this mess fast if there is adequate product as exposed by NNPC.
But we're having something like a double whammy. Is that one is high price, one is it available?
Yeah.
If it is available and it's high price, then it's not available. Then if it is not available and it's high price, then we have neither.
If it is available and it's at high price, then somebody must pay for the.
But pay for it, and that's why it's not available.
And that creates some some fear. For really now, what we have is there is doubt, there is suspicion, and there is mistrust in the supply chain mechanism. We need to see that. Government need to see that. I mean, the NNPC.
Because
we need to answer the question: is that man the problem? Because they are in the point where why are they raising their prices?
Let me tell you what I found out.
Raising their prices?
Let me find out. Let me tell you what I found out from that man's end.
Yes.
They are now inputting cost of operations because they also operate through diesel. I have interacted with most people in the
major
sector.
Players.
So once you give some increment in the cost of freight for those who are transporting, the man who is supplying them is now saying, I'm also using diesel to power my depot.
Yeah.
I'm also having a higher cost of operation. So probably they are now inputting their cost of operation. But NNPC is maintaining his own position. You can't put that onto the cost.
Are we in a state now, Peter Isele, are we in a state now where we have to audit that man to know whether these people are just hiding under the idea of cost of operations? Is this a case? And the other point is the federal government afraid of these big corporations who are that man? Because they don't seem to have said anything other than we want 165. The other people are saying we can't take 165, and nobody is saying we are going to meet somewhere.
I think at the end of the day, they all know what they are doing. You see, that man cannot be an authority on its own without also somebody sitting down there and also allowing things to go as it is. So if you are talking about audit, it's not only DAPMAN, you have to audit DAPMAN, you have to audit IPMAN, then you also have to audit even the NNPC, because we need to know why things are the way they are. But you also cannot take away the fact that one of the challenges we also look at is that we see the economics, we see everything as if they are in bits. Everything is composite. So once you have an increase in diesel, it's going to affect DAPMAN, it's going to affect IPMAN. So it's not left for NNPC and the regulators to now sit down and say, okay, fine, these are the challenges we are facing right now, and then this is what we think should be done. This is the best way forward. And that is why I always emphasize that when you see nothing seems to be happening, just know that everybody is benefiting. So at the end of the day, it's like good manners.
Comrade Esele, maybe I should stay with you for a moment. I wonder how you see this particular phase where the NNPC remains the sole importer. How problematic is that? It is very problematic. But again, the NNPC right now, they don't have a choice, because no marketers or marketer or Moman or Ipman, nobody's ready to bring in product. So why are they not bringing in product? Because if I'm going to bring in product, let me take example, Okpoefa and Sons is bringing in a petroleum product.
I'll be wrong, it's a comrade.
So let me say Okpoefa and Sons is bringing product from Bread John. And he brings it in, and he's going to get those products in dollars. And now you all know that we have scarcity of dollars. For Okpoefa to get the money to bring in that product, he is likely going to go to the black market. And the black market, a dollar is going for 600 and above. So when he brings it in, he cannot sell. He cannot sell at 165. It's about 400 naira. And then when he decides to sell at about 400 naira, 400 and above, the government says they are going to pay subsidy. He will not get that subsidy payment in another 60 to 90 days. What you have was the private sector completely abandoned importation. So it's NNPC that is now doing the importation. Of course, NNPC is all the dollars of government is also with NNPC, that they want selling the crude. So NNPC know how to collect their money first line charge. So that is the challenge. And that's why you had MoMA issuing a release that sector should be deregulated. So do you deregulate in this harsh economic climate?
Well, comrade, it's a very serious issue indeed. Let's come back here to the studios, Comrade Okpoefa. Let me ask this question. If this crisis lingers, what's the worst you see happening, especially to the average Nigerian?
The crisis is already on.
If it lingers,
there's already
if it stays beyond this, it's been almost 1 week here in Lagos
we're
and the
not
Southwest.
Thinking of solution now. We're thinking of understanding the crisis.
So let me say it this way. I believe the crisis should not linger on beyond the next 1 week if we are serious.
You mean Nigerians can go through this for another 1 week?
Definitely we are going to go through this for another 1 week.
At least.
It's obvious. Yeah.
At the least.
I'm talking from the point of logistics and supply chain management. Once you disrupt a supply chain system, it takes time for you to recover and then start, because they have to be consistent loading, consistent supply, oversupply for us to recover. There will be oversupply for at least 1 week for you to recover for the next 1 week. Now, what we need to really do now is that, like you said, the regulator, that is NMDPRA, has to come, NNPC must come. The Minister of State for Petroleum sit down, meet with
the Minister of Petroleum himself.
No, that's
the president.
That's Mr. President.
Must also be there. It's an emergency.
I agree with you. The Minister for Petroleum, the Minister for State for Petroleum, the regulator, and all these things. IPMAN is the independent marketers. Those are the ones without the big names.
Yes.
Then you have the DAPMAN. Those are the depot owners.
Yeah.
Then you have the MOMAN, the major oil marketers, the 11 PLC, Mobil, Oando, Forte, and the rest of them. Now, they all have to sit down and address all these. Then the government must be able to provide that subsidy, or else it will continue to linger. If the government is not going to provide that subsidy, there must be a formula to compensate everybody for the increase in the price of diesel in the international market, increase in the price of crude that is causing the increase in the price of diesel. And the implication for you is going to come next week. We're going to see increase in the price of common danfo and the big buses.
The increase in the price of increase the
and
price
then the
of
palm wine,
onions.
Onions,
So every
everything will increase in the next
can
week.
always trust
So
Nigerians
we
to
have
even
to
take
sit
advantage
down.
of the situation.
So whether we like it or
It's
not,
an economic
we're going to
crisis.
see the implication coming from next week. So everybody has to sit down now. NNPC is assuring Nigerians that there are products. If indeed there are products, who is not lifting the product? They've increased the freight cost, a charge. You can now charge 20 naira, 40 kobo. Then that man, the depot owners, must come to terms and make sure that the products are available for the independent marketers and the major marketers to lift. If we do that consistently for the next 3 to 7 days, we should be able to solve the problem in Lagos. And don't forget.
Of supply. What of price?
Yeah, what?
Price.
No. If the price remains at 165, that's for petrol. But you will not be able to control diesel. So diesel, I cannot see diesel going up beyond 810, 850 in the next few days because the price of crude is somehow stabilizing.
Comrade, I understand we are absolutely pressed for time. It's been an interesting conversation with you. I wish we had more time to discuss. There are a number of issues. The issue of the refinery is also there, which we have not touched at all.
That's easy.
But that's a good place to anchor our conversation. We'd like to thank you most kindly, Comrade Kayode Okwefa, former Commissioner of Transport here in Lagos, is also the Executive Director of Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access Development. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
And virtually, of course, we had the former president of the Trade Union Congress, Comrade Peter Esele. Thank you so much for your thoughts and insight.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.